This is B2Bold, the podcast for B2B marketers and industry players who think differently and lead boldly. I'm Doel, and each episode I chat with boundary-pushing marketers about what it really takes to grow a brand in today's world. Hello and welcome to today's episode where we talk to the head of marketing at ShareTea, Loane Avnall, about scaling smarter, empowering franchisees through bold marketing leadership. Loane is a seasoned marketing executive with trans-Tasman experience on both agency and client side. Her career began in advertising in New Zealand, where she worked across B2C and B2B categories for a broad range of clients. In Australia, she started her retail journey working for IGA supermarkets and Pet Barn. In recent years, she has led the marketing function for two powerhouse franchise brands, first as the National Marketing Manager for Mad Max, with a store count of over 70, and now with ShareTea Australia with over 140 outlets nationwide. She has also held board and advisory positions and is an experienced mentor. Loane joins us today to share her insights and perspectives around the franchising ecosystem at both the corporate systems level and at a local area store marketing level. Welcome, Loane. It's great to have you join us.
Thank you, Hayley. It's so good to be here. A lot of people today are really interested in working for themselves. I thought, talking about franchising is a really great way to do that. So excited to be here and thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be a really interesting subject for a lot of people. Before we jump into things, Loane, could you please start by telling us a little about your role and an overview of the marketing and the franchisee ecosystem?
Thank you. Well, I think there's quite a lot to it, really. It's quite a complex business, but I think it always comes back to the brand first and foremost. So, the brand touches a lot of different constituents. So you've got, the consumer, the franchisees, leasing, and also, the employer brand is so important now as well. And then beyond that, it's about creating impact through our national marketing activities, having a really exciting always on calendar, lots of MPD, because we really need to connect with consumers. There's a lot happening in this partnership space, whether that's collaborating with other brands for partnership activities, delivery brands, through Uber Eats or DoorDash. And then local area marketing is so important at that local store level and really helping the franchisees to activate locally. And then, of course, other things, good team leadership and developing great relationships and collaborating across the business with operations and all the aspects of the business as well. So, quite a few different arms to things, but, the opportunity to impact lots of areas positively as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It can get quite complex, I'm sure, but we're going to break that down a little bit today. So what would you say you enjoy most about your role and the industry?
I think, this is my second role in a sort of food and franchising organization, and I think immediately that I came into food and beverage, what was really exciting was getting that close to the consumer. And I think food and beverages are very well liked spaces by consumers. There's a lot of trending, a lot happening, so it's exciting from a kind of trend and buzz perspective and people's affinity with food and beverage and brands. And then the other part of that is getting that really immediate feedback because, we see the trends straight away, whether, new product development is resonating, whether the sales are happening, people are going to tell us through social. So there's that immediate feedback loop. And I find that as a marketer really exciting to work with.
Yeah, sure. And I bet being a beverages brand, it probably opens you up to a lot of kind of broad range of partnership collaborations as well. So that would be super exciting. Having worked for strong and recognizable franchise brands, how do you maintain consistency across so many independently owned stores?
Yeah, that's a great question. Obviously it's always going to be a challenge, but, first and foremostly having those clear brand guidelines and great clear operational standards. And while obviously in this franchising sector, audits are a very big part of the business, I think it's really about developing, a good coaching philosophy so that, it's not just compliance, but it's about coaching and educating and training and working with franchise partners. And some things that I've seen work really well is where we're actually showing the impact of when people aren't tying up, what can happen. So, we're all part of this brand and to make it positive and successful for everyone. So it's about showing, what is the impact when things don't go right, or conversely, what can a great contribution make positively to the brand? That's for that greater brand good and halo as well. So I would say, taking that coaching and guiding approach is really important as well.
Yeah, nice. It sounds really collaborative. How much marketing autonomy do the franchisees have, and how do you support them in local area marketing?
Yeah, so I think coming back to that previous question, there is a kind of a brand standard, and then there's national campaigns that we really, need everyone to tie up to for the consumer. But at the local level, there's a lot that can be done, and that's where it can get really, really exciting for the franchisee. They know their local market, really making them strong in their local area, and those opportunities to really connect deeply at that local level. So I think, there's a lot of autonomy there. And then the way that we try to work with franchisees is often that they'll see those local opportunities because they're there on the ground, but being that kind of consulting aspect where they can talk to us about those opportunities, ask us from a marketing perspective how they'll work, what we think, how we can make it better. Is that one to go after? We've all got limited time and resources. So what's really going to help to build impact for them in that area, in their area? So, we really tend to work with them to help to activate locally and get that great execution and be a support in that way.
Yeah, great. Having those eyes and ears on the ground and that frontline kind of exposure and all that feedback loop coming back into, marketing head office must be hugely valuable. And I'm sure there's a lot of shared learning experiences throughout the ecosystem as well. And so what kind of marketing resources or toolkits do you provide to your franchise partners?
So I think, pretty common to most franchising brands would be usually, we would have, we do have a portal that will have a baseline set of assets. So whether it's brand assets, local area marketing assets. So that's just something that's always there for franchisees to tap into. And of course, we've got the opportunity to create some really high quality, lovely, high impact assets. So whether it's at print or digital for in-store or social. And then beyond that, if they've got a local campaign that they want to do, having the ability to help them to deliver that and activate. And then other sorts of resources is, the relationships that we will have with other partners, whether it's shopping centres and the shopping centre marketing teams. So, what we can create with them that will help activate for that store in that centre, or could be an opportunity with a delivery partner as well. So what's a sales opportunity that we can create through a delivery partner and working with the franchisee to help activate that as well.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I think a lot of those kind of tangible toolkits really help to reinforce that overall synchronization of the brand identity as well, and just kind of keep within those frameworks. So yeah, it's great that you're providing those to kind of help give those guidelines.
I meant to say also, something that we've done as well is also we have got booklets that we've created where it's like looking at how to create local area marketing. So what's the target audience? What are the objectives? What's the audience size? And helping franchisees to think through, is this a good opportunity, and evaluating it. So it's almost like evaluation tools as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that kind of ties back into that coaching environment that you're trying to establish that you mentioned earlier. So are there situations where you've had to evolve the brand or its positioning to support growth into different markets?
Yeah, I was having a think about this one. I thought a really good example of that I've experienced was when I was at Madmex. We opened in Malaysia, and one of the products that we had was our spicy chicken, which was doing really well in Australia, but it was very attractive to the Malaysian audience. So really being able to dial up even higher the spicy level on the menu and market that in a more overt way, but still very much under the hero brand, but finding out, what was a flavor that really was exciting for that market and being able to hero that in promotions, dial it up in the menu boards. And then, we're always looking locally at what is attractive in a local market. For example, ShareTea, a beverage type, and how we can hero that through like our menu boards or through local area marketing as well. So we might have some areas where taro is really popular, like taro milk tea or the mango crush. So, with that local audience, how can we really sort of push those and dial it up or activate it more in social to support sales for those stores?
Yeah, amazing. It sounds like you're really kind of tapping into that cultural diversity of the product. So that's really great to see that you're personalizing that experience in those regions. So what are the most common marketing challenges your franchisees face, and how does your team help to solve them?
Yeah, so I think, franchisees are really busy. They are very busy operating a store, and, there's a lot of things coming at them, every day. And I think if we even think about something like, obviously we have our store sales, but, delivery is becoming such a big thing. And then there's like, at least sort of 4 different delivery partners they might be dealing with as well. So the number of things for them to keep up with. So, one thing is helping to support clear communications to the stores with regular updates. And then with our campaigns, making sure that they're really clear for the franchisees and for the stores. And then that ability to execute the campaigns easily as well, and making sure all the assets are in place and the dates are really clear. So, I think it's really recognizing that they are extremely busy, and how can we help them to make things as easy as possible. And then I think it goes back again to that other piece that, they can't be, a lot of people have a really good sense of marketing these days anyway, but can't be experts in everything. So how can we help to either coach, guide, consult, or support? But in particular, if they want to activate a campaign, like a good example would be, we've been doing over the school holidays a lot of kids bubble tea making workshops in a lot of shopping centres across the country, which has been really popular. But, it's about us helping to come up with like the invites and the assets to get those registration lists and get people along, helping at the workshops, and then obviously helping with all the sort of promotional aspect of that. So I like to say that's a team effort, both the franchisee and their teams, and our teams coming together to execute and make it a great event as well.
Yeah, that's great. So it's not only that leadership and guidance, but also really helping those efficiency gains for those really busy franchise owners. So what marketing trends or consumer shifts are you seeing that franchisees need to be aware of?
Yeah, I was thinking for this sort of 2 aspects that immediately jumped out. One is, we are in obviously the age of hyper convenience, and particularly, with ShareTea being quite, very youth driven brand, with sort of the teens and Gen Z, people want to be served wherever they are. So delivery is becoming obviously a larger play. So making sure, how we're going to take advantage of that and meet them where they want to be served, who's the delivery provider, what's the kind of campaign, and how we're activating. So, and making sure that we have that, omni-channel experience accordingly. So I think that's only going to increase more and more, in terms of the landscape. And then I guess the other part is partnerships between brands and collaborations are becoming bigger. One that we just did was with the new Smurfs movie. And we actually, as well as having this, a wonderful opportunity to embrace the Smurfs assets and IP, which we brought through with our cups and, dressing the store environment, we were then able to really take that further through a partnership with DoorDash, so integrating it and then having activations with some key shopping centres with Westfield, so, activating them in a bigger retail environment, right through to the premiere with all our social assets. So I think, for us as a brand, it's making sure that we are delivering opportunities that extend beyond just a sort of a typical campaign and have a number of touch points, and that franchisees then get the benefit of that through that bigger exposure, the omni-channel, right through to, including delivery, and then right through to things like shopping centre activations, to keep building that profile and looking for those opportunities to connect and have impact where the consumer is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because since you mentioned the Smurfs campaign in our earlier conversations, I've been seeing Smurfs everywhere and the Smurfs movie and billboards and pop-ups and the ShareTea brand as well. So you guys are absolutely killing it. Such a great partnership there. So I know you do a lot of great mentoring with up-and-coming marketers. So I had to have this question in here. What advice would you give to emerging marketing or franchise professionals?
Well, I think, and I saw this myself this week because I've just been out in store, doing the kids bubble tea workshops. There's nothing like being on the front line with customers to learn from our franchisees. Like, you're there, you're hearing that feedback immediately, either where there are some challenges, to make sure a campaign is executed, really well for the consumer, or even just, hearing from consumers what they like, what they're enjoying, what's connecting, what's resonating. So I think you just can't go past that that thing of spending time at the front line with customers. It's fun, joining in the fun and the learning. Again, the Smurfs activations, learned so much just from seeing how that really came to life. You can think about something conceptually, but when you're there with the characters walking around a shopping centre and interacting, how is it really resonating? So I think just that curiosity to be there, spend that time, watch, listen and observe and stay open and, get those learnings.
Yeah, definitely. That's something I've found as well throughout my career. When I've organised live events and trade shows and things, I've always loved to, go along, actually spend time on the booth as well, talking face to face with the customers or potential customers, because you just get it. I don't know, there's just something different about being in person and the type of feedback and the conversations you have, just a little more in depth. And I'm sure as well it can be a lot of fun, especially in the Smurf activations. And
There's a
so
lot of charm.
finally, yeah. And so finally, just wrapping up. So what is one bold idea you would love to try if there were no limits?
I was reading the other day, actually, and I saw this example that I thought was really fun. So it was out of the US. There's a brand called Blank Street, and they've really been winning and developing their business on matcha, which is when I was like, trending hugely, and people just love it. But really focusing in on that Gen Z and teen audience, and they've grown really well. But they've introduced a subscription only model, but it's by invite. Subscription model that's invite only, selling 14 drinks a month for $22. But I thought, the nature of an invite only subscription model, which builds exclusivity, and like really thinking about subscription as that sort of next sort of frontier for loyalty, moving on beyond where loyalty is now. So you've got that thing of like a brand that's become so strong and so attractive that you've got the invite only access through subscription. I just thought that was a really interesting space and would be a lovely thing to try.
Yeah, definitely. It's really clever. It's actually interesting because I was at CVent Accelerate recently, and they threw out a statistic that only 8% of consumers describe themselves as being brand loyal. So I was really surprised at how low that is. But they say it's mostly, it's a variety of reasons, but mostly to do with there's a lot of variety out there in the consumer space, but also, the up and coming generations of Gen Z and millennials, they're much more open to trying different brands and different products. So that loyalty piece is really, really important. I agree. And so that's a wrap. So thank you so much, Loane, for joining us today and sharing your insights into the world of franchising.
Thank you, Hayley. Great questions. Really, really enjoyed spending the time with you. Thank you.